Welcome to Literacy Home Learning. This is a literacy unit appropriate for children learning from home during this extended school closure. It is designed to provide learning opportunities for primary age children and will help to develop their ability within the national curriculum. This is lesson number 3 in the series. Please listen along, pause the video when necessary, and listen out for the task appropriate for your age and ability. To be prepared for today's lesson, make sure you have something to write with and your home learning book. Follow along with the video and be sure to pause when you've been given a task to complete. You will know when to pause when you see the symbol in the bottom corner of the screen. Today's learning objective is to be able to express different characters' feelings. Time for your first quick task. Listen to the story and discuss with your home teacher how you think the duck-billed dinosaur would have felt. In today's lesson, we will continue to explore the book Tyrannosaurus Drip by Julia Donaldson and David Roberts. In a swamp beside a river, where the land was thick with veg, lived a herd of duck-billed dinosaurs who roamed the water's edge. And they hooted up with rivers, and they hooted up with reeds, and they hooted up with bellyfuls of juicy water weeds. Now across the rushy river, on a hill the other side, lived a mean Tyrannosaurus with his grim and grisly bride. And they shouted, "Up with hunting!" and they shouted, "Up with war!" and they shouted, "Up with bellyfuls of duck-billed dinosaur." But the two Tyrannosauruses, so grisly, mean and grim, couldn't catch the duck-billed dinosaurs because they couldn't swim. And they muttered, "Down with water," and they muttered, "Down with wet," and they muttered, "What a shame that bridges aren't invented yet." Now a little Compsognathus, but for short we'll call her Comp, found a duck-billed egg and stole it from a nest beside the swamp. And she swam with it, and ran with it, and murmured, "Clever me, and won't the baby Comps be thrilled with duck-billed egg for tea?" She dropped the egg in terror, and went running for her life from the mean Tyrannosaurus and his grim and grisly wife. And the duck-billed egg went rolling, and at last it came to rest in, of all unlikely places, the Tyrannosaurus nest. Now the mother tea had great big jaws and great enormous legs, but her brain was rather little, and she couldn't count her eggs. And she sang, "Hatch out, my terrors, with your scaly little tails, and your spiky little toothies, and your scary little nails." Out hatched babies 1 and 2, as perfect as could be, but Mother T was horrified by baby number 3. And she grumbled, "He looks weedy," and she grumbled, "He looks weak," and she grumbled, "What long arms, and look, his mouth is like a beak." "He just needs feeding up," said Dad, and gave the babes some meat. The first 2 gulped and guzzled, but the third refused to eat. And he said, "I'm really sorry," and he said, "I simply can't," and he said, "This meat looks horrible. I'd rather eat a plant." "A plant?" yelled Mum in horror, and Dad said, "Get a grip." His sisters found a name for him, Tyrannosaurus Drip, and they shouted, "Up with hunting," and they shouted, "Up with war," and they shouted, "Up with bellyfuls of duck-billed dinosaur." Poor Tyrannosaurus Drip tried hard to sing along, but the others yelled, "You silly Drip, you've got the words all wrong. For he hooted, down with hunting, and he hooted, down with war, and he hooted, down with bellyfuls of duck-billed dinosaur. Drip's sisters soon grew big enough to hunt with Dad and Mum, but they turned on Drip and told him, "You're not fierce enough to come." And he cried, "They're gone without me." And he cried, "Alack a day." And he cried, "This doesn't feel like home. I'm going to run away." So he ran off to the river, where he saw a lovely sight, a herd of duck-billed dinosaurs, all hooting with delight. And they hooted up with rivers, and they hooted up with reeds, and they hooted up with bellyfuls of juicy water weeds. As he stood there on the bank, a sudden urge took hold of him, and he jumped into the water and discovered he could swim. And the duckbills came to greet him by the rushy river's edge, and they hooted, "Nice to see you," and they hooted, "Have some veg." And Drip, who was delighted that they hadn't run away, ate bellyfuls of waterweed and played with them all day. Then he gazed into the river, and he asked them, "Who, oh who, is that creature in the water?" And they laughed and said, "It's you." During different points in the story, the duck-billed dinosaur has many different emotions, as does the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Time for your next quick task. In your home learning book, create a mind map of all of the emotions the duck-billed dinosaur has had so far in the story. We thought the duck-billed dinosaur's emotions so far in the story were upset, excited, eager, thrilled, disappointed, scared, and frightened. Time for your next quick task. In your home learning book, create a mind map of all of the emotions the Tyrannosaurus Rex has had so far in the story. We thought that the emotions the Tyrannosaurus Rex has shown so far would be surprised, fuming, frustrated, stunned, aggressive, excited, and shocked. Now we have identified how these characters feel in different points of the story, it is important to explain why they feel like this. First, we need to write a simple sentence identifying what the character feels like. For example, the duck-billed dinosaur felt excited. We can then add a conjunction to the end of this sentence to explain why we think this. For example, the duck-billed dinosaur felt excited as he has found other dinosaurs that are like him. Year 1 and 2, here's your main task. In your home learning book, write 2 sentences about each character identifying what they have been feeling and try to use the conjunction because to explain why. Year 3 and 4, here's your main task. In your home learning book, write a sentence about each emotion you have identified for each character. Use the conjunctions because, as, and since to explain the emotion. And finally, Year 5 and 6, here's your main task. In your home learning book, write a paragraph identifying and explaining each character's emotions. Then use comparative conjunctions. So how have you done? Time to share your work with the class. Read your work out to your home teacher, but don't forget to check for spelling and punctuation mistakes first. Well done everybody, that's the end of lesson 3. Be sure to join us again in the next lesson.